Hey Andy, how's it going?
Hey Paul, pretty good. How about you?
I am doing well. It's a busy but lovely summer out here in the Northwest. How's it in New York?
Pretty good. We've been lucky to have a lot of nice weather and kind of getting to catch up on some of the stuff we missed out on in the early part of summer, some weddings and golf stuff and those types of fun things. So
Nice, good. And you have, I hear from Vince, your implementation person, that you've kind of formally wrapped up our training implementation process, but he's still helping you with some data import and getting ready for your ISO audit coming up. Is that right?
yeah, we wrapped up a couple weeks ago. We actually the last thing we did was we kind of worked with integration into our accounting software, which is QuickBooks.
Yep.
So once we got done with that, we are now just kind of starting to dip our toe further into the water and just keep plugging away at getting everything in there and ready to roll it out to our shop.
Awesome, awesome. Well, I'm excited to see kind of what you've been working on. If you wanted to share your screen and kind of show us some of the stuff you've been doing lately.
Yeah. So share the screen there. You can see, as you know, this is the tips work order that we've looked at
Yep. Yep.
every week here.
Boxes there.
Lots of green boxes, which means we're getting close to the end and can see some light at the end of the tunnel.
It's exciting.
So the last couple weeks, I guess, since we last talked, we did some scheduling, a little bit of touching on the scheduling and some work with that.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've also did some work with queries, and then we've been, like you said, we've been kind of just working on a lot of data entry and kind of fine tuning things the way we want to see them inside of ProShop.
Yeah, no, I imagine part of that data entry is because you, like you said, you have your renewal ISO audit coming up in a couple of weeks, and you want to do a lot of the auditing inside of ProShop. Is that right?
Yeah, we've been notified by our registrar that we will be doing a virtual audit. And we're not quite certain as to how that's going to look, but being that we're going to have a lot of the documentation that we're going to have to get from paper onto a computer anyways, we're trying to, wherever possible, just put it right into ProShop and kind of have the first true chance to show off our new ERP.
Very cool. Yeah, I've heard from a lot of clients in the last couple of months that their audits have gone virtual. Now, most of them, of course, were in ProShop the whole period, so everything is all paperless anyway, so it's pretty seamless to just do the audit. But I think it makes sense and it's wise that you're taking all your old stuff and scanning it in, because that's just more records you'll have all in one spot.
Yeah, and we'll certainly obviously keep up, the paper backups here, but I mean, just having them all, like you said, one spot, right in ProShop, it's going to be very, very beneficial to us. It's going to make future audits, when hopefully, Lord willing, we get back to in-person events instead of all these remote events. But we'll definitely look forward to having all the records, whatever they might be, right inside of ProShop.
Right on. Cool. So yeah, this looks great. Do you want to share with us some of the other stuff you've specifically been looking at?
Yeah, we like I said, we touched on scheduling. We right now we're kind of putting that to the back burner. Kind of the way I feel, at least, is that it's like we're eating an elephant with this whole entire process. So one bite at a time, and we want to roll out get the work orders flowing through the shop smoothly before we start trying to really go by the schedule that we can utilize inside of ProShop. Make sure we've got good data inside the system, so that way if we're following along the scheduling inside of ProShop, that we're not getting messed up because of the input that we've got inside of there.
That makes sense. Yeah, it is a lot to bite off all at once. So when you are putting a new job in the first time, you have some historical records of setup times and run times. Is that true? And you're trying to put those into the part level?
Yeah, for the most part, we've got a lot of our parts that we've got historical records, and but we're just trying to fine tune that. Sometimes they're not great, and sometimes they're, well, an operator wrote down a cycle time, and then since then we don't have good, actual run time. I mean, you know how it goes. A cycle time doesn't really gives you a good idea, but if there's a added work to be done, or a lot of part handling in between from chip to chip, I guess you could say, or just operator downtime or whatever it might be. So we're trying to get all that, just make sure it's good and reliable.
Yeah, important. Yeah, reliable data is certainly important. So one thing, and you probably have run across this yourself, but just in case you hadn't yet, if you put in the best guess you have, in the part level, which will initially define your scheduling in terms of, let's say you had 100 parts to make and they were 10 minutes a piece, that's 1,000 minutes of runtime. But once when someone is doing the setup of that job and they check off the box once they've completed it, it will, now you can set this as a configuration of who should get these pop-ups, but it'll pop up a notice for you to then fine tune the targets, right? So if you've just finished your setup, you know how long that just took you. You have a reasonable guess of how long that should take on a repeat basis. And then you can look at your controller and see, what your actual cycle time was. It'll prompt you to fill that stuff in. And as soon as the machinist fills that in, it instantly updates the schedule. So if you had something in there at 10 minutes, but they had gotten it down to 8 minutes of cycle time, as soon as they update that, the schedule will reflect to now it's 800 minutes total instead of 1,000 minutes. And so that's just one of the mechanisms we can use to make sure that your data is as accurate as it can be, and that reflects instantly throughout everything.
Yeah, and that's something that I think will be really nice to keep those reminders to our employees, because I mean, we've got we have systems in place, but you know how it goes, that it's like, well, I just got done with this setup and I want to try to get this setup done before I leave, and guess what, the paperwork gets forgotten, or the basic steps to get that information turned into the shop gets forgotten, and before you know it, a couple of weeks have gone by and we're trying to, we get done with the job and that information's missing and it's no longer fresh in the memory.
Yep, that you're spot on about that. And it really just comes down to a little bit of discipline. And then hopefully, because it only takes a few seconds to update something, they do it right on the spot, and then it's good to go. And as you can tell by this work order, like if you mouse over those checkboxes, right, it will tell you the time date stamp and the person that signed that off, right? So
Yep.
You'll be able to see those updates when your machinist updates your setup time or your runtime, that they were the person that made that change. Now, when it comes to targets like that, if an employee puts in a target that's longer than what you had before, then you can immediately get notified that they just increased the time target for that job.
Yeah.
So you can go talk to them and figure out why it's taking longer, because we want things to be shorter, not longer.
Amen.
Cool. All right. And you dug in a little bit more with querying and even customizing some of your queries, right?
Yeah. Yep. I'll click over to this next tab here. This is our equipment query, and we've kind of fine-tuned it for the most part to show us only inspection equipment that is coming due or past due. So all we do is just click on this and we can kind of give a quick rundown. Disclaimer, some of these aren't actually past due, they just aren't into the system correctly yet. But
sure.
So yeah, we're pretty excited about that. We got that worked out, and that's really handy to just kind of be able to, the queries being able to easily find what we're looking for. Another example, I'll click over to this next tab here. You can see this is our TO category for tooling. So these will be all of our outside turning inserts. So we've fine-tuned this here to have like the EDP number in this column, your ISO catalog number, your description, your ANSI catalog number, along with our internal tool number, which is what we know it as, or what it is known as inside of ProShop.
Yep.
Another cool thing, so if I'm trying to find a certain say a certain style insert, I can actually pop up here to this search bar and start typing in what I'm looking for. So say I'm looking for a CCMT insert. Got all these that pop up here, and then down at the bottom I can even maybe go a step further if I'm looking for maybe how about a 8125 grade, and it kind of eliminates a lot of the different tools we've got and brings it down to only a few to kind of narrow down my search.
Yep, that's exactly right on. And then you can click into one of those, right? And go look at the details, look at your inventory, look at your vendor.
Yep. So, look at my purchase history here, which I haven't actually purchased any of these through Pro Shop just yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, it makes it really handy to be able to quickly find what you're looking for. And as you can see, we've got a lot of valuable information on these pages. This one doesn't have as much as some of them do, but and it's really going to be handy for our machinists to be able to quickly find the tool that they're looking to get information on, find the data that they need, and be able to get back to making chips.
Yeah. So to kind of close the loop on this one, are you, for the part numbers you do have in ProShop, do you have the tools listed in the sequence detail?
We don't yet. That's something I probably is definitely on a it's on the higher of the priority list. At least for the important, we might not get, like, maybe not turning inserts. We might not get too worried about this because I mean, at least the standard turning inserts, just because it's too much. Again, it's just too much. But I mean, it's the specific like specialized grades or threading inserts, those types of things that are taps and drills and really job specific. We want to make sure we're getting those in as we work them through. And what we're hoping to do is kind of run a work order duplicate inside Pro Shop as well as out in the shop, and follow it around and make sure that we at least get the like I said, the really specialized tooling related to that part inside of there. And that way we, the next time we get that job, we're able to order tooling as needed.
Yeah. So I have a question. Do you ever track the cost that you incur when you like overnight a tool in or something, a gauge, something that you thought you might have, but you realize you go to set up your job and you don't have it? Is that something
we don't
deal with much?
We don't track. I mean, I know in my head kind of, when those instances occur, more often than we'd like. And I think we've alluded to that several times, but yeah, it's not something we formally track.
Sure. Well, I've had somewhat recent conversations with 3 different shops that definitely had that as a challenge, and after tracking that better and putting in these details into the part module, right at the part level in the operation where you're using that special tap or that special insert, and just getting more proactive with the purchasing process, right? Because if you got 4 jobs this week that all use this special threading insert, and you needed 2 of them for one job and 3 of them for another and 1 for the other, ProShop will tell you, hey, you need 6 of these inserts coming up, right? And that feeds right into the purchasing dashboard. And just by being more proactive and buying in better bulk, so you get better prices. But the main thing is that you don't get surprised when you go to set up that job and realize you don't have the tool you need because it was already ordered in advance. So we've had 3 clients that told me they have saved more money on reducing their overnight shipping charges than even their ProShop subscription costs them on a monthly basis.
Yeah, we just had a job that we started setting up on Thursday. There's a job that we ran several thousands of these parts previously, and it's a very intensive setup. Pretty much uses up all the tooling inside of our big live tooled lathes. And one of the drills was a drill that we ordered specifically for the job because it's, in order to meet the tolerances of a plus minus, we actually have to go up a size in the it's a nominal 10 millimeter drilled hole, but we actually run a 10.1 millimeter drill in order to meet the sizing. And we were having issues with that, and that drill, and it was one of those like oversights that we should have just bought another drill for what it was worth, and we
Right.
ended up having to. It's longer than your standard jobber length drill, so we ended up having to overnight one from OSG. I haven't
Yeah.
obviously got the shipping bill yet, but I'm sure it'll be 60-70 bucks to get it
And
UPS read. And
the real cost is the fact that your machine sat waiting for it, right?
well, yeah, I mean, we actually were able to run the parts and then rework them, but yeah, we had to rework them.
Oh,
So
sure. Yeah. Okay.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, it's
Well,
kind of like
yeah.
you said, I mean, just that's just lost time or wasted time that you're paying somebody that could be making chips on a new order,
Yeah.
doing more important things than fixing parts.
Yeah.
So regardless, yeah, absolutely, just wasted time that you don't like to see inside the shop. So
Yeah, and for a lot of shops, that shift between firefighting mode and being reactive and being a little bit more proactive on the front end, sometimes is a hard mental shift. You know,
yeah,
once they realize, and hopefully, once I mean that example is prime example of
yeah,
if you'd taken the 5 minutes to put that tool in, put in the quantity you think you'd need, and it forevermore, whenever you go to get that job set, you get a new order for that job, it's going to tell you to get that 10.1 millimeter drill.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that job all the way around. We actually had a issue getting them going because of just an error in the offset in the machine. But when we went to the inspection, uh, didn't initially pick it up until it kind of was debated, and we finally re-inspected, and so we ended up wasting some parts and wasting more time on that setup. That I mean, we've already actually entered into that part. Have that's more specific of what you need to check in inspection, with a
Okay.
picture and all of that inside of there. So
So you put
just
that you put that picture and description right in the part record.
yeah, yeah.
Nice.
So
Yeah, not reinventing the wheel is has
no,
a
I
good
mean,
return on investment.
we've all had those days where it's like you learn something the hard way, or you kind of are reminded of things that you don't, and there's no sense in doing that over and over and beating your head against the wall. Get the information inside a pro shop so you're preventing this from happening. Like you said, be proactive instead of reactive.
Yeah. Well, very cool. I see you have a tab up with something about improvements. You want to tell us
Yeah.
about?
Another thing, like I said, we're trying to prepare for our audit next month, and one of our quality objectives is a focus on continuous improvement, and we actually track the number of improvements that we have per month, and that's a big thing for us. So what we used to do, I'm in the wrong tab here. There we go. I'll pull it up on the screen right now. This was inside of, I took a screen grab off of we had a little Excel sheet, and whatever it might have been. I mean, sometimes you can see here we fixed a router, we fixed our line card, we added in Made in America stickers to our boxes, organized some threading inserts. We put them into. We made a cabinet. Those types of things that we add notes onto. Add notes onto our routers for future reference. All these types of things that we're just trying to get better every single day. We keep track of that. We were keeping track of it in Excel, and it's working pretty well. But now we're going to start doing it inside of Pro Shop. And the nice thing about this is that one of the nice things here is, like, for pictures. So this is not a great example, but we added some flags and a banner around the shop. So it's an improvement. Took a quick picture,
I love
put
that.
it inside a Pro Shop. And that's something that we're really looking forward to. And then at the end of the month, we'll tabulate all these up, and we actually track it and kind of give some bonuses out for whoever leads has the most improvements, and kind of a thing that we're really, we just added this to our quality objectives this year. We didn't track improvements. I mean, we're trying to improve, but we didn't really track them. So pulling this inside a Pro Shop is going to be pretty nice.
I love that. I've never seen the use of the equipment module for something like that. That's really cool. I love that. Love that.
Yeah, well, I mean, we saw that you guys had the 5S as a category in there,
Yeah, we
and
sure
we
do.
kind of
That's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah.
figured might as well just use it for this. And the thing that's really nice about, I mean, kind of more just in our system of tracking the improvements the way we do is that I feel like you get to the end of the month and it's like, okay, you look at the profit loss, but I mean, when you look at the improvements and it's like, oh man, look how far we came. And this month's not obviously up to date on the screen here, but once we get it up to date, you know, you all of a sudden get down to the end of the month and you got 110 improvements and you got guys getting trained. It's like, okay, we're making progress. A kind of little self-esteem boost, at least I feel.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, that continuous improvement mindset and just doing a little bit every day is
Hmm.
amazing. Are you familiar with Paul Akers at all?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, two
My,
seconds. Yeah, Paul's
yep.
company is right here in the same town I live in.
Yep.
So
My two Pauls from the northwestern portion of the United
we
States
talked
there
about
that I
that.
always enjoy following both of you.
Yeah, no, that whole mentality is
Yeah.
so powerful over time. Just that incremental improvements all the time.
Yeah. Well, and the fix what bugs you is,
Oh,
you
yeah,
know, and that's how we came to Pro Shop, and you know, and that's what we keep trying to, you know, fix what bugs you. Well, it's kind of a pain to know. I mean, the spreadsheet is kind of monitored by my sister, our office manager, and she goes in there and it's like, okay, now wait a second, where's that file at again? It's on a cloud file, and you know,
right.
just I mean, and like I said, add in pictures once we get this fully implemented. We'll have pictures of stuff because that's sometimes more valuable than the description.
Sure. Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're worth 1,000 words. So I've heard
Exactly.
people say.
I feel like they're worth more.
Yeah. And you could throw a video in there too if you wanted to.
Yeah. Yep.
Um, Very cool. Well, this is awesome. Anything else you want to share about what you've been doing the last couple of weeks, or should we let you get back to it?
No, you know, we're like I said, we're slowly moving forward, we're issuing POs inside of Pro Shop right now for the most part, really on our tooling side and cot side, not a lot of material yet, but
Mhm.
starting to run a few work orders. Once we get past our ISO audit here another couple weeks, we're gonna really dive deep into that and um start running orders through the shop and then unveil it to at least the higher level of the shop, and hopefully by end of September be out in the shop for the most part across the board.
Well, does it make sense to let you focus on prepping for that ISO audit and maybe have a quick call again after you've done that? Check in how that process went.
Yeah, I mean, probably. Well, I think our ISO audit's the 3rd of September, so you know maybe the following week there. That normally our Monday nights would probably be pretty good. I would say that following whatever day that falls on, the 7th, I believe.
All right. Yeah, that would be awesome, and I'm sure people will be curious to see how your audit went. That's partially an old system, partially a new system, and scanning all those paper documents in.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, obviously the information, I mean, of doing a virtual audit, I'm sure, obviously we've 5 months into this whole COVID thing. I'm sure a lot of companies out there have already been through an audit, and I believe some companies have done an in-house audit, and some have done virtual. But I mean, I think it's a lot of people probably are wondering how it looks because I sure am.
Hmm. Well, yeah, like I said, we've had a few clients. If I'm sure if you want to talk to one or two of them, I'm sure they'd be very happy to talk with you, just to get a sense of what they went through. So let me know if you want me to connect you with some of those folks.
Yeah, we might have to look into that just to.
Sure, no worries. I'm sure they'd be happy to chat with you. Well, awesome, Andy. Well, great job as always. And yeah, we'll connect you up with someone to give you a little bit of advice on how it went for them. And look forward to catching up with you after your audit, and then maybe do it a couple more times as you roll things to the shop.
Yeah, looking forward to it, and hopefully we got lots of good news in future episodes.
All right, awesome. Well, thanks so much. Have a great day, and appreciate
Thanks,
it.
Paul. Good to see you.
Too. Bye bye.